And please, this is not stock advice or financial advice. Stocks only. What else do you say with that?
Never buy anything we tell you to buy, and never sell anything we tell you to sell, because we don't know
Okay.
what we're talking about.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna get this training started. We have a special guest with us tonight, Pablo Stockbar. He's going to share with us his trading journey. He's become a really successful trader. He's especially specializes in the OTC world, which, you know, I think that we need to learn more about these guys that are hard workers in the OTC world that know a lot about it. He's been trading for over 7 years, and we're going to learn about his story and how he got started and all of that good stuff. But before we do that, we're going to watch our first motivation video. We have a lot of things going on in our country right now, around the world. It's very uncertain times right now. There's a lot of worry about things like what's going to happen to our US dollar. There's just so much stuff out there. I mean, the news is breaking every other minute. We have a war going on in Russia, Ukraine. We have a madman that's sitting in Russia that could just literally wipe off the whole face of the planet with one push of a button. So there's a lot of anxiety. Our economy is falling. People are talking about this might be our free world falling apart, you know, our empire. So that's really scary, right? But you know what? With all the fear, there's also faith. And so it's just depending on, you know, where your faith lies and where your determination is, because this country was founded on those types of principles, and it's the only free world standing. And I came to this country when I was 7 years old as an immigrant, and I'm telling you, the opportunities that I have here and for me and my family, it's just really impossible in India, you know, where I'm from. And I'm sure some of you guys are also from other parts of the world, and you guys moved here and migrated here. So, you know, I really love this country. I mean, it's my country, right? Even though I wasn't born here, it's my land. And I thought today, why not listen to something that, you know, that we all liked in the last 4 years when Trump was a president, and let's hear about him and like hear, because, you know, in the media, all they did was hate him, and they just did everything they possibly could. But, you know, some of you guys know my story. And, you know, I used to be a Democrat. And, you know, I walked away from all of that. And so I thought, you know, why not hear something from President Trump and his motivational speech for being successful. So go ahead, roll it.
Years from now, some of them may look back and ask themselves whether they've made the right choice, whether they've made the most of the opportunities they've been given. Together, we have the same mission. Over the course of your life, you will find that things are not always fair. You will find that things happen to you that you do not deserve and that are not always warranted. But you have to put your head down and fight, fight, fight.
Many of you wonder.
Ever give up. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right. Nothing worth doing ever came easy. And the more righteous your fight, the more opposition that you will face. In your hearts are inscribed the values of service, sacrifice, and devotion. Now you must go forth into the world and turn your hopes and dreams into action. America has always been the land of dreams because America is a nation of true believers. When the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth, they prayed. When the founders wrote the Declaration of Independence, they invoked our Creator 4 times. Because in America, we don't worship government, we worship God. It is why our currency proudly declares, "In God we trust." And it's why we proudly proclaim that we are one nation under God. The story of America is the story of an adventure that began with deep faith, big dreams, and humble beginnings. The next generation of American leaders never, ever give up. There'll be times in your life you'll want to quit. Never quit. Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Demand the best from yourself. The more people tell you it's not possible, that it can't be done, the more you should be absolutely determined to prove them wrong. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be that you must keep pushing ahead. You must keep pushing forward. And always have the courage to be yourself. America is better when people put their faith into action. Pray to God and follow His teachings. Today, each of you begins a new chapter as well. When your story goes from here, it will be defined by your vision, your perseverance, and your grit. You will build a future where we have the courage to chase our dreams no matter what the cynics and the doubters have to say. You will have the confidence to speak the hopes in your hearts and to express the love that stirs your souls. As long as you have pride in your beliefs, courage in your convictions, and faith in God, then you will not fail. As long as America remains true to its values, loyal to its citizens, and devoted to its Creator, then our best days are yet to come. May God bless the class of 2017. May God bless the United States of America. And I just want to let you know that God blesses you. And I want to just say, you are special in every way. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good video.
Yep. So I thought, why not hear from him, our previous president, to cheer us up a little bit, because it's just been really whack out here with everything that's going on. So let's get started. Pablo, hello, welcome to RST. Pablo's actually been in RST for quite some time. He has his own channel. It's called, what is it, the Burgers Joint? So we're gonna have him explain what the burger joint means. And so you guys can get to know him. So without further ado, hi Pablo, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Busy, you know.
Thanks so much. Busy, yeah, right? I mean, you got to be always hustling. You got
Yeah.
to keep going.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate having me back here again to chat with some people. It's been a little while since we've been, or since I've been on a guest speaker here.
Yeah, it's
great
been a
to be
while.
back.
Well, I think the last time was on Twitter. So
Yeah,
it was everyone.
Twitter,
And
right.
now we decided to just keep it very exclusive here for RST. You know, this is a private free Discord, and it's just a bunch of people that I've connected with on the internet, on Twitter, that want to learn about trading like I did. Like we all are newbies, and that's the whole concept of RST, is that we're rising stars because we're all newbies in here, and we all started trading because of COVID and to supplement our income, or we decided to give it a try because we were bored at home. And I decided to network with everyone in Wall Street, right? And put them all in here to help us. So we're all newbies, and we have all you guys that have been doing this forever. And that's the whole concept of RST. So it's always going to be free, but it's also going to be private and exclusive. I never want to grow this, as I think we have enough members. I don't ever want to grow this to like millions of people. Because it's a family in here, and everyone knows who we are, and we all talk and we chat, and we know our real names and where we live and our kids and our dogs and everything else. So.
Oh, wow. Nice. That's awesome.
Thanks.
That's really great. I love that. And I just, I got to say right off the bat, what an awesome intro. What an awesome intro. That's exactly the kind of introduction we need to wake up every morning and listen to. Something that's going to take us back and say, look, things can be a lot better, and there's a lot of work that we have to still do to do that. Even with the administration or leadership that we have right now, it's still on us to, get up, put our best foot forward, and keep moving. So I just thought that was just a fantastic opening to this meeting. So thanks for putting that together and bringing that here and giving me this chance to speak with everybody.
Yeah, we do this every Tuesday. So every Tuesday we do this at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. We started this about maybe a month or two ago. And it's just been great because I can personally tell you from my experience, this helps because it motivates me. And then my journey, in trading, it's been better, So I always tell people, like, the more you study, the more you learn and knowledge, and, the more you get motivated, you're just going to become a better person, whether it's in your work or personal life. So it's great. I love it. I love these trainings.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, and I'll speak to that here in a second as well. Because I do them every week as well for 2 hours. I've got another group of people that I work with, and
nice.
A really fabulous group, and it's an interesting story, and it's taken a year in the making to happen. So it's just been really awesome. But yeah, we do it every Sunday for 2 hours. And 2 hours is our cutoff because we can go for so long. So we have to actually put a cutoff on it, or else we'll continue far too late into the evening. And it's happened many times. So yeah, I think these sessions are incredible. They're important. I think anybody who is fortunate enough to be here in any form of setting like this that allows you to get some free information, some free advice, and some experienced advice as well. And it's incredibly important on this journey because there's so many people out there that want to charge you money for all this information. And I respect in some ways that they want to do that because, it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm at now. And nobody wants to really, truly help you on your journey at the end of the day, right? A lot of these guys, it's just a big Ponzi scheme at the end of the day. Each stock is get in, get out before the next guy. So why would I tell you my secrets? And that's the unfortunate truth about being in this industry, is that not everybody wants to tell you everything. Nobody really wants you to be better than them. They just want you to have your money involved in there with them. And I personally have always felt that there's more than enough money to go around. There really is. And because of my journey and what it cost me to get to where I am, I made a promise to myself that, if I ever make it, in the sense, in the word of, I can support myself as a trader and actually say that I'm a trader, because it's my full-time gig now, I'm going to give back. And so that's what happened. I actually made it. I got to the point where, made it in my world, meaning that I was able to cover my needs and wants. Then I was able to say, okay, now I feel like I might be able to start being able to give back. And so if you want my story, for anybody who doesn't know me.
Yeah, we want to know your story. This is what it is. Best practice.
Tell us.
Oh, yeah. From the very beginning, I started trading 7 years ago. And I'm 47 now. I was 40 years old. And I was working full time for a big communications company for 12 years at that point. And I decided that I wanted to have a little bit more control over my own life. I had some other dreams I wanted to do. And I don't have an education. I have my grade 12. So I've had to kind of hustle and work my ass off to get to where I was just in regular life. And so I thought, you know what, I really want to take that next step because I want some more independence. I want to learn. And I actually ran into a trader on a holiday trip one time. When I was out traveling, there was a guy working and watching this house that I was staying in. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm here and I'm from Canada. And I said, well, how can you live here? And he said, well, I'm a trader. I can live anywhere I want. And I get paid to look after this house so that guests can come and go. And I can sit here and trade. And I was in Panama when this took place. So I had about an hour's conversation with this guy, and it blew my mind that this was something that the average person could walk out of their job and into something like this, or out of their life and into something like this. And that stuck with me for many years. And then by the time I was 40, I had decided, you know what, I've kind of got myself into a little bit of a position where I was working from home. I'm going to take advantage of this and try this guy's conversation that I had. And this was probably about 8 years prior. So it was a long time. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So I jumped in 2 feet, put my money in there, got a broker, no idea what I was doing. Jumped right into the market, had no idea, just discovered OTC because, rumor was that that's the fastest place to make money. So I said, I'm going to do that and try that. I got in, I started buying stocks, selling stocks, listening to everybody on Twitter and all the other channels, especially LiHub. I was on LiHub for a while. And I really had no idea what to go with, and I actually was really naive because I thought these people were, they want to be on your side. And I lost about $130,000 in my first 4 years total. So it was a major kick, and I thought, oh, this isn't going right. Not very happy about that. I blew pretty much everything that I had at the time ready to go. And then I got down and I started reading more and I started learning more. And I had a couple of people I ran into that gave me some good tips and tricks. And then after that, I just really hunkered down on my own. I found that I was just being led by my nose and by my wallet the whole time. And it just really was disheartening and really hard and wanted to give up. And, I was scared, to be honest with you, at times, because I was like, I'm just losing. And I really wanted to win, really wanted to beat this at its own game. Instead of just looking at charts and seeing lines, I really wanted to see this matrix that everybody spoke about. And I read somewhere that if you stick it out, you got to do 4 years. You got to do 4 years of trading. And if you can make it through 4 years of trading, whether that's part-time or full-time, the odds of you being successful increase substantially. And no word of a lie, it was almost 4 years to the day. I had $6,000 left in my bank account. And I went back in and said, okay, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this again with an open mind and a different mindset. Went in and haven't looked back ever since, quite honest with you. The biggest thing I did was I stopped listening to the giant noisemakers. I got out of places like LiHub and StockTwits, and I found that being on Twitter and learning how to filter through noise, and then doing the homework, and asking a lot of questions. And all of that come together and really putting the hours in. I put in more hours doing this than I ever did in my real job, let's say. But now it has all come full circle. It has all come full circle now for the last 3.5 years. And so tons of experience of what it's like to have lost and to not know what to do and feel like I didn't have a sense of purpose or direction in this game. And to bring that all the way around and to tell you right now, is it easy? No, it's not. It's just as hard today as it was those years ago, but it's different because now I have a strategy, now I have plans, now I have skills that I've had to develop along the way. And as I got better, I started to spend more time with better traders. And that is a huge win. So a group like this, when you said at the very beginning, it's a family and it's private, the longer you can stay in a group like this, the better off you will be. And that's to everybody for, I don't know who's been here the longest or not, but you can really grow and learn from each other by sharing with each other, by really saying, like, here's what I'm learning, here's how I'm learning it, and let me help you get that next dollar as well. Because if you're working together, you'll build a really strong unit, and that unit then becomes, you know, the network of 10 brains instead of just one. And leads me to one of my biggest personal goals that I had, and that was to give back. And so a year ago, just almost to the day, it was a year ago actually in January, but January through March, I started a group, and I had around 58 people in there, and for free. And I said, you guys have to give me 1 year, and I will start from the very beginning. I will train you everything that you need to know to be a trader. And so for many hours spent with each one of these, on individuals, on Saturdays, on Sundays, on evenings, on mornings, on weekends, whenever their time was open, I worked around them. And we started right back at the extreme basics of what is a chart, what's a moving average, what do I look for, what does volume look like, everything. Right up through to how do I spend my money, how do I save my money, how do I build my money, capital builder plays, etc. And here we are now a year later, and I think, what are we at here? I've got one gentleman, actually, if it's okay with him, I'll call him out. He's in the room right now. JC. So JC Hovis.
What's up, Pablo?
How are you, buddy?
Doing great.
Good. JC, how long have you? JC's actually with me in my room. He's been someone that I've been mentoring and working with now for about a year. And so it might even be good to ask JC kind of how his experience has been at any time for anybody that's curious, because JC's been with me from the beginning when I started to say to give back. So of those 58, I think, JC, we have probably active, truly active, and I would call traders now, probably 8 people.
You have a couple of other members from RST also. You have CEO Millionaire and Ambio King.
That's
they
correct.
Love you.
Yes.
They love you.
Yeah. Yeah, and in fact, we even grew our room to the point that we were doing presentations and training, and that was part of how I was coaching and teaching each person, was they had to have subject matter brought up, that they had to build a PowerPoint, and I would work with them, build a PowerPoint out on that subject matter so that they would become an expert, and then they had to deliver to everybody within the room. And so it got them to break free of a lot of that nerve of being able to come online and speak like this, or to be able to present. My theory was that if you can present the information, then you can probably do the information. You can use the information. So you have to be able to understand it. And that's a lot to ask for a lot of people that may not want to do any type of public speaking. But if you wanted to become a solid trader, the idea behind it was I needed you to put the work in. And so, yeah, here we are today. We've got about the 8 of us together. We're busting hard. We're having good days and bad days. We're swing traders. And it's the whole point of the room that I worked with and made and brought together to get to where I am now was not so much that I'm going to try and make everybody rich. No, but it was rich in knowledge. And then they're to take that knowledge and go out and make it on their own, side play wise, so that nobody is completely stuck having to have one person hand feed them everything. Because that was something that I was opposed to over time, was if you could find a way to teach everybody how to do it, you would have a loyal group of people who could bring plays to a scenario that follow what everybody wants to look for. And then again, it goes back to that brain network, right? So you have 10 people who are now out there with the proper knowledge, the proper loyalty, and the proper purpose, looking for tickers that are going to make a profit. And if you can bring that together, you've got a really trustworthy group. And in this game, trust is extremely hard to find. Extremely hard. You're dealing with money, and everybody wants their piece first. And that's the kind of people that I want to hang out with, and that's the kind of people I want to work with, and that's the kind of people I want to share my knowledge with. If somebody starts getting scabby or anything like that, I kick them out. Right? I don't worry about it anymore, because if they're a detriment to the team, they don't belong here. Right? I mean, everybody should be here to help each other, and by supporting each other. And it's very, very important to do that if you want to be successful, in my opinion. That's because of, I guess, a little bit more of the ethics side of things when it comes to this. There's many ways to make you can make lots of money in this game if you want to just put ethics to the side and just get out there and be like that. But personally, that's just not me. I can't work that way. And I don't want to work with anybody like that, nor do I want their money or near them. So, yeah, it's been a great journey to get to where I am today, and I'm super happy to help out. And I love swing trading. I'm a huge swing trader. I love the OTC. If there's not a lot of people in here that do OTC, the reason that I like OTC, the rules are the same in every one of them. OTC, NASDAQ, small cap, it's all the same. The difference is the volatility, right? So with the OTC, you're looking at the volatility being on the extreme side of things. It might not be like the other ones where it takes 3 months to work its way up towards your target price. It might do nothing for 3 months. The volatility of it is that it could also do it all in one day. It could also do it all in 1 hour. And it could do it repeatedly. And so you can go to multiple plays over and over and over and over at different times and different days and weeks. But I like the swing style a little bit more still, because I do like to have a little more time to investigate the play. But I definitely do have some strategies that are very, very ABC stuff that do work, and they work on everything and anything. And there's strategies that most people already know. They just don't usually trust their own decision making, and they don't usually trust themselves with the knowledge, because a lot of people are just so used to listening to their guru who, puts out one play and then they all just go batshit crazy over it, but they don't really understand why. Like, they don't understand what's taking place. But once you do, the freedom that you have is huge. It's huge. You'll be able to then you'll see when like right now for me, when a guru drops, or a big twit guy drops a play out, sometimes I take it and I just throw it in my chart. I look at it and I'm just like, nope, that's been front loaded for about 4 days. And it's just so freeing to be able to see that, and it's just some of the small basic stuff. Or it's like, hey, that doesn't fit my personal strategy, so I'm not going to jump in there, And that's something else that I like to get into with people is just talking about the why are you here, right? The what do you want? What do you need? So, like, when I say that I made it for success based on my own needs and wants, that's different for each person. Like some people, like when I first started, for instance, I made deals with myself of like, if I can make $100 this week, that's a win. If I can make $300 a week, this is a win. And then it changed and it grew and it changed and it grew, and then it's come back down because you get humbled many times. If anything this market will do, it'll humble you real fast. And I think it's just really important stuff that people don't discuss is why am I here, right? Like, what do I look for out of this? Like, if I was to make $500 in a month, would you be happy? And if the answer is yes, then why aren't you trying to make 500? And why are you swinging for the fences to make $5,000? Make the 500. Get good at it. Do it again. Rinse, repeat. Do it again. Then you can change it and say, well, now I'd like to make 1,000 because I'd like to do ABC. So there you go. You set your strategy accordingly, and then you tweak it until you hit $1,000 a month. And you keep doing these kinds of things, because what happens is a lot of people just jump into it and they're just like, I'm just going to put money out there and I'll sell it when it starts to run. But unfortunately, FOMO has a great word on Twitter for a reason in this world, because the fear of missing out and greed, both of those are just going to destroy and blow up accounts. And so you have to be aware of who you are as a trader, what type of trader do you want to be, and how do you want to trade. And once you have that kind of mindset, you don't get so upset when something runs after you sell. You instead start to do more of an investigative look at it. You don't get upset if you make $100 and it runs up and you could have made $500, because you might say, well, hey, I only need to make $100 in a month, and I just did it in one play, so I don't care it ran an extra 300. The win here is that I found it and I played it and I hit my target. That is the win. Excess and everything else, that means there's just more learning for later. So once people start to have those kind of conversations with themselves and with someone who's going to give them honest feedback, you can really have some fun with it. So I can continue on forever. So I'll stop for a second and leave it with you for a second here. Sorry.
I just wanted to say.
Go ahead. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask them.
I just wanted to say your advice about you said it took all that time and you finally started spending time with better traders. I think that we're all very lucky because regardless of if we've been doing this for a year, 6 months, 5 years, we're all here, and none of us here are shitty people. Like we're all trying to strive and be the best traders we possibly can. So all of you should be hanging on to RST and doing whatever you can to make it the best place for all of us.
Yeah, because it's what people bring to the team. I mean, if it's going to be a group and a team, and when you say it's a family, that's super important. Like how would you treat your family? And I mean, of course, every family has its ups and downs with arguments, but at the end of the day, are you going to steal from your family? No. Are you going to try and get your family involved in something that's going to hurt them? No. And that's what is really comforting about when you find a really great little network of people to stick by, because this is a very savage game. It's a very savage game. There's not too many people that go to the top that haven't actually experienced the savage aspect of it. Some of them make a lot of money off of that.
Today I put out a tweet, and I swear to God, I have all these DMs now. And it was a really honest tweet. There's this one play, MARPS. It's a low float. I think the float's like a million shares. And they call, like, all of them called it out today at pre-market. It was at $18 and it ran up to like $30 in like no time. But I didn't want people to get burnt because it's a low float, and if you cannot day trade, you should not be in a play like this, right? So I put a tweet out and I said, if you are, I suggest, it's not financial advice, but please do not get into any low floats if you don't have any day trade. And I got the most amazing responses because people were like, wow, like no one would ever tell us that has like 100,000 followers,
Yeah, it's totally true. And you're bang on, right? Like understanding what type of trader you are is really, really big. And that's why I was talking about those conversations to have with yourself, because if you're not a day trader, you need to know that. Like I am not a day trader. I actually don't enjoy day trading. I really don't. I would rather wait a week or two and get double my money over a period of time, or even hit my target, versus do it all in one day, in and out, high risk, not knowing what's going on. I like to filter my information to be a little bit more confident in what I do. So yeah, you're nailing it right away. That if you're not a day trader,
winning rate for day traders is very low. I think it's like less than 10%. Like day trading is very hard and it's very risky. And you got to know what you're doing, and you got to literally know how to do the key levels and charting, or you will lose money really fast. Swing trading is more
process. You have to process this really fast.
Yeah, swing trading is more it's more safer, But yeah, there's a lot of people out here that just pump the stocks and they dump on their followers, and it's really sad, and we've all been through it. We had people in our room that was doing it. We won't name that guy, but and it was just it's sad because a lot of us have been victims of it,
Oh yeah, Tara, I've paid my dues. There's no worry about that. No, I've paid my dues on that, so I'm a huge fan of taking that down. Yeah, I don't want to trade with anybody who does that, and I don't want anybody who trades with me to ever think that's what I do. And so I like to always make sure, like when I share trades and stuff with people, I make sure I share them. Like here's the date, start date, here's the entry, here's the areas of concern, here's the information. What do you need? kind of thing. And from there, you should be able to decipher it. Once you know your own strategy and your own plan, then you'll be able to apply that and either say, yes, this is the play for me, or no, it's not the play for me. And that's where it's all about. It's about information. You have to have an understanding of what type of trader you want to be, and what are your skills. You know, like some guys are really good at, some guys and girls are good at one thing, and some are good at other things. And so having a network like this and a group like this is just beyond fabulous, right? And it's great for each of you to sit down and think, like, you know, if you sat down and said, about trading, what part about trading am I really good at? You know, toot your horn, brag about it for yourself. And which parts do I need to learn? And bring that to the table whenever you come in here. Bring that point and be like, look, I may not know a lot about this, but I do know this. And then, you know, how does that help? How does that hinder? Where can we go from here? And you'd be surprised at how much information people know. And they just don't give themselves credit for it because they'd have nowhere to voice it. And so, yeah, when you can get into a place and voice it, and JC and I see Bilo has joined us here as well, you know, they know for a fact, like, whenever I'm in the room and talking, they can full on DM me, or we have a group meeting kind of thing, and let's have that discussion. And there's no bad questions. There's no stupid comments or anything like that, you know. It's just literally like, you may not know it, you don't know it, because I'm still learning. And back to your percentages, and this is what I tell my guys is, you know, there's actually a 1% success rate in trading. Overall success rate is 1%. And that's how hard this gig is. Really tough. 1%. When we talk, we're always trying to make sure we understand we're here to be part of the 1%. And if it was, you know, 50%, we'd see a huge number of people rolling around with these Lamborghinis and these gold watches everywhere. But that's not the way it is. It's 1%. That's the heart. Once you have that kind of wrapped around your head, you realize, okay, you know, if you want to be in the top 1% of an athletic group, you want to be the top 1% football player, that changes things. You got to really work hard. You know, you got to know what you're up against. Then it doesn't mean defeated is how you should feel. What it means is you should then stop and go back to that question of, well, what do I want out of this? You know, if you want to be a millionaire overnight, it's not going to happen. It just won't.
You know,
but if you ask yourself, I want $500, you know, well, if you've got the time and you've got the people willing to support you, the odds of you making that are actually very good. Sorry, I think I interrupted someone.
No, and I was just saying that's so good that you say that, because you're around so many people that are just, you know, are winning, and, you know, they're sharing, you know, their successes, and you have to keep that in perspective. It's just a few key people that are, you know, are voicing, you know, what they're doing right, but the majority aren't. You know, it's a tough game out here. It's really tough. And requires a lot of work. So it's good that you mentioned that. But what are some of the key rules that you trade by that helped you become successful?
So some of the basics that I follow is, I don't play very often. And when I say that, I'm going to give it like an 80-20 for everything I say. Meaning 20% of what I say is open-ended, meaning there are scenarios where, yes, a 5 billion share stock can move, and you can get in there, you can make money and get out. But 80% of the time, I would say that I stick to the lower float, lower AS, lower OS type stocks where, you know, I don't like the 1 million floats like Shar mentioned earlier. I don't like those because they are hard to get out of. They're really hard. They're not liquid enough. And I don't care for floats that are in the multi-billions, because those ones tend to either come with far too much dilution, or they tend to go into an RS. There's opportunity for that. So I like to stay away from the fringes in that fact, and bring it down to the first thing I look at is the share structure. That's the very first thing I look at. And I like to say, okay, as long as it has, like, the OS is sitting at anywhere around 1 billion is my standard, but I'm willing to flex a little bit. And I know that everything else below that will be liquid enough for my style of trading. And my style of trading could be anywhere from $1,000 to $100,000 investment. So it just depends. So that I find is very liquid, consistent for somebody in my field where I like to play. So I stick to that. I rarely, and that's why that 20% floats out there. And when I say 20, let's say 10% above that and 10% below that. So I might try and play 1.2 billion play. I might play, 700,000 play, or maybe even the odd, 200,000 play. But those ones are just, I would only use those in test case scenarios. And I do a ton of test case scenarios. So that's probably the second thing I do is I paper trade the shit out of everything I can, because I'm constantly testing what I think can happen and take place. But the first one, share structure, the one that you like, the one that fits you. Then the second thing I would do, I go straight to their filings and I go to their 10K and their most recent 10Q if it's not available as a K. Then I read the 8K, most recent 8K. And then the next thing I do is I start looking for filings of Form 4s, Form 3s. And no matter what, if I see a pre-14C, that's when I pretty much walk away from the play. Now, I'm just firing these out there. If people know what they are, a 10K is your annual filing. 10Q is your quarterly. An 8K is a change within the company. Could be good, bad, ugly. Generally has to do with, something physical, asset changing, purchasing, that kind of stuff. And filing forms 4 and 3 are insiders buying or selling. They're buying. I want to know what they're buying at. And if I can buy it in lower, I will. It's good to know, because if they're buying it, especially at market price, higher.
Wait, can you say the first two again?
So the first
10K, the 10K is an annual filing. The 8K is a change. The 10Q is a quarter filing.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Form 4 and 3 are insiders buying and selling.
Okay.
And so if I go open a company up and I look and I see they have a Form 4 or a whole bunch of Form 4s sitting there, and I open each one of them up and they all have the CEO selling shares, then my faith in this company is starting to go down, right?
Right.
So I have little boxes that need to be ticked for me to also proceed. And this is something that all of this can be done. And when I was training the guys, they know this when they bring a play to me. I grill them on this right away. What's the Form 4s look like? A, B, C, D. What does this look like? I look at the 10K, 10Qs, because that's where you can see if they're going to be diluting or not. It's all written right there. They put it out there. They have to put it out there. There's no guesswork. They're either diluting or they're not. You'll be able to see where that information is. And
do they put it out before they start doing it?
Yes. Yeah, because they have to close it. They have to close it. So when you see people saying they closed a Reg A, so that's when they're out of nowhere. If they haven't said they're trying to raise money for a certain reason, and then they just suddenly close a Reg A, that's because they're building capital on the side. And what they do is they'll say to somebody, and I can tell you this is what happened to me this year. I had somebody approach me on this. They said, if you give me $25,000, I will give you stock A at 5 cents a share. Current share price is 20 cents a share. With the conversion to be immediate, meaning that the second I had that paperwork in my hand and the shares were in my account, I was able to dilute. Basically, meaning I was able to sell. I could have become a diluter.
Wow.
And that would have shown up under whatever M ticker I normally get brokered to. So not specific to any one. There are many that are known. That's not always the way it is. So, did not take this deal.
Got it.
Yeah, that didn't meet my standard on that one. So that's what happens. And then what'll happen is that they'll close the Reg A, because they would have just taken my money and my share value and said, we're trying to raise $200,000. I think that's what this one was. And they were willing to give up that many shares. 4-to-1, 5-to-1 ratio. And then when they close that Reg A, my information gets stamped into the filing, and then they have to file that filing. And once that filing has been filed, you can go ahead and start selling. You can sell it whenever you want, whatever price you want. And you can dump it all directly into the bid if you want. You can build a wall if you want. It's entirely up to you and how you want to manage it. So the more experienced people are the ones that are probably the ones doing this, because somebody inexperienced would just say, holy shit, I'm going to dump all this into the bid now. I'm going to make $100,000 off of my 25. But it doesn't work that way, because if you kill the bid, you just killed your opportunity, and now you're stuck. Nobody wants the stock, and you just got $5,000 back in return. So there is some strategy behind all of that. But as an example, that's how it works. And you can see this when you go into the filings. You can pull this information up and you can see the date that it was done by. You can say, okay, they've got 200 million shares, sold it to this guy for $0.05. Current price is 5 cents. Then you can see right now that guy got that money like a month ago, and people can't figure out why it won't go past 5 cents, because he's making 10x price right now by sitting on the ask. You may stop and go, I like the stock, I like the story, I wish they would stop diluting. But ask yourself, if you were making 10 times the money the next day off of that, would you stop diluting so that everybody else could make a penny? No, you wouldn't. You're making 10x, and if it goes down, you're making 8, 6, 4, 3. You're still 300% ahead, and that stock dropped all the way down to 2 cents. So it's really interesting that you should always look at these 10Ks and Qs and understand what that filing is saying. Some of them are uber. You get it confusing. You can get super confusing, but there are some very standard areas that you can search for and immediately have I'd give it a good 90% accuracy of what you're running into. So that would be step 2. That sounds like a lot, but honestly, after you do it a couple of times and you know where to look and what to look for, you're just checking boxes. Bang, bang, bang. So no, you don't get to jump in a stock within the first 30 seconds of hearing about it, but you can, within the first 5 minutes, find out if this is something that's going to work for you or not. And that right there builds huge confidence. Huge confidence. So that's my second step. So I've got my share structure. Then I'll go in and check out the filings. Then I'll go check out the news. I'll look and see what kind of recent news they have. I will also then check the Twitter, because I want to see what social media has anything to say about it, whether anybody knows about the stock or not, or is it quiet, is it hidden? Then at any point, and then I check the chart. I mean, your chart is your Bible. Right, you've got to go to the chart and understand what's going on there. And if you just know a few simple things on the chart, it'll tell you ahead of time as well. Where is this sitting at? For instance, you have like your RSI D. I like the stochastic, and then I go with my simple moving averages, which would be like your 8 or 9, depending on what you like. 9, these are days. Your 21, 50, your 100, your 200. These are standard. Every trader uses. Every trader, but there's not too many that don't use these. They're kind of like the most guaranteed that everybody likes to play on, which is really interesting, because now you actually see the card holders. Everybody's got the same cards when it comes to that. So you can kind of flex your strategy around knowing that everybody's looking at the same exit for the most part. So why would you want to join everybody and exit at the 200, for instance? Right? Everybody else is going to bail by then. So that's how you get begged, is everybody else plans on leaving by then. But if you don't know what a 200 MA is, then you don't know, and you think it's going to go to the moon. Suddenly you're like, why did everybody leave? Why is it not coming back? I thought the story was great. It's because all their boxes got ticked and they were out. So going through the chart is always a really good idea. And so what I was doing with the room that we have here, and Char's been super gracious to let me have that room there, is I've been putting some plays in there, and these are plays that my guys are playing too. So the full disclosure is that everybody knows about these plays, between the people I'm training and the people that want to learn more in this room. Everybody gets the information at the same time, and because you get shown what to look for, you can see that A, it's not front loaded, B, here's where, the technicals say it could go, and here's the fundamentals. This is what everybody gets to know, because everybody, there's enough money.
And this is why I love you. Like, this is awesome because it's legit, and it's not like you don't know. Sometimes people are like this stock, and it's like we don't know where it's coming from, right? And it's already up 35%. So why am I jumping in this? Yeah.
And you won't find stuff like that. I mean, if I put something on Twitter, to me, I look at Twitter as a totally different game altogether. If I've put something on Twitter, I generally put it out there when there's a move that could or couldn't happen. It's entirely who knows. Let's just put it out there. I look for feedback more than I look for convincing, trying to tell people what to do. No, I just prefer the feedback. I've put stocks out there and just said, what do you think? And I've had people come back and say, it's a piece of shit, man. I've looked at it and gone, wow, yeah, actually, you're right.
Okay, yeah, and you don't even have like that many, it's not like you're pumping it, You don't even talk about stocks on Twitter.
Not a lot. I usually tend to go on rants after hours about stuff. I'm sorry if I offend anybody with those, but when you become a full-time trader and your world suddenly is Twitter, it's amazing. Like I have my outside world friends, but because of COVID in the last 2 years, I actually do look at the FinTwit community as this like soundboard. Like I have arguments with people on there, and you know what? I learn on there. Sometimes I have bad words and exchange things, but I'm only human, and I don't need to pump. Like when I first started, I thought that's how you did it, and I was pumping stuff, but I had no idea what I was pumping.
Right.
Meanwhile, turns out I was pumping shit for other people so they could make money as well as me because I kept buying.
Right.
And when you first start, you're not sure what to do. All you're concerned about is why am I losing money and how do I make more?
Right.
In this game, nobody wants to teach. Nobody wants to show you. If they do, they are very limited as to why and how much further to get into it. And most of the time, that's when you got to start paying them.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, I make enough money doing this that I don't need to be paid. To be honest, like I don't. Don't charge the people I work with over the last year, and I don't ask them for money. And the risk is there. Some of our stocks that we have played, that we've used as education tools, have taken us a lot longer to win than we thought they would too. But again, having these plays that we've been playing for a long period of time, and then we meet every Sunday, and each person actually now, we've advanced to the point where everybody who didn't know a lot is now at a point where they are actually, on a Sunday, they each get assigned a play, and they bring it that Sunday. They with it and where it was from last week when they first did it, and they do a full review on that play, and they own that play end to end. It's really great because they share that live with everybody, and then we go through it, and if they've maybe missed some things, we correct it, and if they haven't, and we applaud where they've done really well at, and go from there, because that's just the way it is. And it's like, I'm not here to make you a millionaire. What I will do is show you a lot of stuff that you are not going to learn anywhere else. And once you learn it, then you and I are on the same page, and now we're peers. And that's who I want to trade with. I want to trade with peers. I don't want to trade with scabs, and I don't want to trade with the wolves. I want to trade with peers. So that was kind of also how I started this other group of mine, was because I decided I was going to build my own group of friends that actually I could trust. Because you can't just reach out and expect somebody to be like, everybody's like, oh yeah, man, I'll trade with you, no problem. Yeah, until something hits the fan, and then what? Suddenly they collapse the stock right in front of you because they don't know what they're doing, and they get greedy and they dump everything into the bid to run away, and then they're like, oh, you didn't get out, bro? Like,
right.
Oh, right. You didn't tell me that? So I'm really big on loyalty and really big on being honest and truthful about stuff, and I'm not afraid to share and help people grow. And so hopefully, like with this room as well, I'll be bringing some plays in, and I'm putting the charts out there, keeping them simple, to the point. at the point of like what I produce in the room that Shar has given me here is everything you need to know on the play itself. I've kept it super simple. And then the idea is from there is to draw questions, right? Because a person like me, I can sit here and go on for hours. But at the end of the day, if you've only learned one thing in the last 3 hours, then I need to understand why you didn't learn the other 9 things. That's where questions come in. And that's where we have to talk back and forth, and you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to say, I have no idea. I'm gonna pull out an example for fun. JC the other day made an interesting point. What did you say, JC, about one of the stocks? You said, this is where I go now because of Pablo.
I can't remember.
That was a filing. So we had a play come up the other day. And the first thing he types in as a laughing was
assets and liabilities. Oh,
yes. He was like, I now know exactly where the assets and liabilities are and what they mean.
I actually typed that into the main chat of RST 15 minutes ago.
Did you?
Yep.
There you go. So you see, like, and compared to a year ago, right? Compared to a year ago, where you are versus where you are today, it's a big change.
I wasn't even looking at filings.
Oh, and now JC's got his own. He's got his own summary of a play with charts. He presents. He actually does all his own predictions. He draws them out, and he explains to us what's taking place in recent news and events.
And the best thing is we every week we look back at what we predicted, see how it worked out, and learn from there.
Right, and this goes back to, I think KB is the one that initiated this. The original question about what it is I look for. That's everything that I look for on a standard play. That would be considered a simple strategy to know those 5 basic things. So make sure you just have a share structure that you feel is comfortable for you, versus about liquidity, not too high, not too low. Make sure you understand the filings, that you can look through them. You don't have to know everything about filings, but the ones I mentioned, those are kind of the key ones. Make sure you have an understanding of what the charting looks like. So understanding what the moving averages are, where they're located, what do they mean? Understanding you'll hear people talk about MACD, RSI. Make sure you understand what those 2 items mean. And then being able to put that all together and know where to find it. And it's all on OTC markets. So that's your Bible number 2, OTC markets. You go straight there and you've got everything at your fingertips. The next question I usually get after that is, how do you find stocks? And finding stocks is 2 things. It's not hard and it's not easy. When I say it's not hard, is because if you go into OTC markets, there's a whole bunch of stock stuff that's brand new that drops new filings, they drop news, they drop everything in there. You don't even need a scanner. This thing does it for you. That's a fabulous place to go in and learn from, because you can go in there and every moment you refresh it, you're going to see a whole new set of filings being dropped in there. It gives you a place to study. Every time you go in there, you'll see something you don't know. And if you don't know it, Google it. That is your place to go. That's your university right there. Start there. You see news drop on something and you have no idea what this news means, then what you do is you take that and you put it into a chart and then you watch stock. You say, okay, every time I see ABC happen, the stock goes up or it goes down. No matter what stock it is, this is what it is. So I need to understand what that means. And that's how you slowly start to build. It's a lot of, I don't know what I don't know, so I need to know it. And that place right there is the bang on university for you. You can go in there and there's everything in there. I can bring up another example real quick here. Ambio, or Bilo, do you mind if I use you for a second?
Yeah.
You might just be...
Yeah, that's fine, Pablo.
One of the experiences that Bilo and I had, and I mentored with Bilo as well, was, and this was some conversation we've had, right? Like, how's the best way for me to start finding my own picks? And I had said to him, go to this OTC markets. I'll show you where it is. This is where they drop the volume, the filings, and everything. And this is where you start to search. And Bilo, you started doing that how long ago, and how's it been going for you so far from an education point?
Yeah, I'd say roughly over close to a year now, or a little close. Yeah, about a year. And it's been great. I actually love it. I went on YouTube too prior to that, looking up some stuff, but being able to, like you said, look up the actual news and see how that affects stocks, even from a watching standpoint or paper trading standpoint, can help you hone your strategy long term for, your own picks. Like, okay, if a bio stock passes phase 2 clinical trials or they release some sort of news, I can, hit my percentage that I'm looking for based upon the news because I've seen this before. So, it's really interesting, and I am grateful that you gave me that information. So thank you.
And a benefit with this relationship with Bilo is that Bilo's now able to go in and he's picking his own picks. And as part of our relationship, we work together on those. So Bilo will bring a play to me, and not for me to play it, but because he's going to play it. And I play the role of like a soundboard. So he'll come in and he'll actually break down everything about this play, and then I'll ask him about anything I think is maybe missing regarding that play that I may have looked for or inquired about, and we work together on that. Then he goes off and plays it, and it's all set ahead of time. He has a strategy, he has an entry, he has an exit plan, he has a timeline. And that's part of the learning, and that's where that relationship of having a really great community network like this comes together. That you can do that, you can share that information with each other, and work with each other. Just because I have a play doesn't mean that you have to be in it, right? And just because I've been doing this longer than you doesn't mean you have to follow my word, right? So eventually what's taking place here is, as Bilo and JC have seen success in their trading on their own, like where they do it themselves 100%, where they don't need anybody else, they're going to find plays. And my long-term strategy on this is that because I've got these people that are peers now with me and I want to trade with, they're traders. These guys Bilo's going to come knocking on my door tomorrow and say, hey, Pablo, check this out. Here's a play. And then I know he vetted it, because he knows damn well that if he gives it to me, I'm going to vet it. But it gets to a point where I don't have to vet it because I now trust Bilo has nailed all the targets. And I can vet it, or I don't have to. I might be able to just say, absolutely, you want me to throw $5,000 at it right now? Yeah, let's do it. Boom. I'll throw $5,000 at it. I won't even have to look at it, because the data and the DD is finished. And that all came from sharing. That all came from trust and sharing and loyalty. And it's just huge in this game. It's huge. So, big hats off to everybody that's in this room right now. If you can stay in this room and open yourselves up and be vulnerable and be able to take critical feedback, you'll see some big changes happen. It can all happen. It can all be done. Whether you're part-time or full-time, it's just about setting proper expectations and holding yourself accountable. You got to do the work.
Some of these guys have been here since day one. When I started the Discord, to just store my DD, but God had other plans, and we've really grown. We've had a lot of drama, a lot of stuff happened in our Discord, but finally I feel like we have the right family here, and everyone is family. It's really a great place. I love you guys.
It's a great feeling. I mean, this is a game where chaos survives all over the place. So if you have a place that you can slip out of the chaos and come into and relax and feel heard, feel understood, then you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You're already, by doing this room right now, Shar has given everybody in this room a step to be part of that 1%.
Yes, and that's the goal. We're rising stars, so we're all gonna, make it, and everyone has different goals. The concept is, we want to be great traders. We want to definitely do it for financial freedom. and and mingling with the best of the best in Wall Street, and that's what it's all about. So
Yeah, and it's so doable. It really is doable. Like
yeah,
I like I
it's
always say, like
the stock
I don't.
market's a
I
money
came from
making
nothing.
machine. Yeah, the stock market's a money making machine, and you just have to know how to use it, how to use it for your advantage. And and this is it, best practices, learning from others that have been doing this for a while, learning their mistakes, learning from, what got them to where they are at, And so Pablo, we really thank you for your time tonight. This was really, really great information. Guys, Pablo has his own channel. It's Pablo Stocks Bar Burger Joint. If you have questions for him, he's always in there and you'll always see him. Turn on the notifications for that channel and go in there and ask him questions. If there's a stock that you're in and you don't know what's going on because they just did some filing or dilution or something and people are talking all kinds of crazy stuff on Twitter, just ask him. He's here to help us.
Oh yeah, and I tend to, just so you know, the way that I work with people is I will be asking you guys lots of questions. So I like for people from a learning point, I like them to have to do the work to learn. So it's not just an answer Q&A type scenario. It might be like you say, well, here's a stock I'm in. What do you think? I can't say yes, no, or it's good or bad because that's all based off of what I have in my head for strategy. That might not be what you're looking for. So I like to turn that around and I'll ask you certain questions about those 5 things I said to look for. I may ask you flat out, like, what's the point of being in this stock? You tell me.
And that's the great thing about it because that's how you learn. Like if you show someone how to fish, right? You don't catch the fish for them. You show them how to fish. And
Yeah, bang on. I have a saying actually that I spend a lot of time with my guys with, where I would say at the very beginning, you have a choice. You can learn to fish, or you can shoot fish in the barrel. And a lot of people that think they're trading, what they end up doing is they take their little stick with their kernel of corn and they throw it in a barrel that somebody else filled with fish. And once in a while they get a fish that bites it and they think, look at me, I'm trading. But truly, the guys that are trading are the guys that are out in the river. And they're facing the rapids and the elements and the decisions and the different choices of what's taking place environmentally around them that they need to make a decision on now. Do I need to use this fly or this fly? Versus the other guys, they're standing around this barrel and they're waiting for that guy to come over and dump a bunch of his fish in there. He already caught. He doesn't show up. How are they going to feed themselves? Can't. So if you want to learn to fish, you have to get out. You have to get off the barrel and you have to go to the river, and it's hard. It's hard because you need a guide when you're near the river, so you don't drown, so you don't lose everything. So that if you do have something big on the line, you don't lose it.
wow.
These are things that are really, really important, and they make great sense. To me, they do.
This is great, great, great information.
So like Philo and JC.
Do you guys have any questions for him before we close out our session? I'm sorry that it's a little bit longer than expected.
Oh, sorry, guys. See, see, when I sell this, we have a 2-hour limit on ours at times because we go forever, and we'll go through 12 different stocks.
Well, honestly, for me,
I appreciate
I thank you
Sean
for all the
inviting me
information.
here, and this meeting, listening to you is confirmation that I'm in the right place. I'm looking forward to picking your brain and getting to know you. And so many of the things that you said really resonated with where I'm at and finding the right group of people to trade with. I was in a situation where I was like the only bear sometimes for technical reasons, and it was like being a bear against a pack of wolves, these guys I was with, because they were just bullish beyond any reason. So I'm really digging this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And it's true, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be trading for your own strategy and for yourself. Like, I mean, if these guys are spending all their time trying to convince you and you're like, it's not right, it's not going to work. The best part is that you're strong enough to not do it.
Absolutely.
And that's trading, because you can go on to any ticker, go find the first ticker that's out there that's doing really well and say something negative about it and watch what happens. You're going to get beat up. Go find a terrible one and say something good about it and watch what happens. You're going to get beat up. So it's like your opinion only matters to you and your trading style. And then when you're working with the right group of people, your opinion will be accepted as a point of either learning for them or learning for you. And sometimes you don't agree. And at that point, it's not about conflict amongst each other. It's about saying, okay, it just doesn't fit my strategy. It doesn't mean it won't do what you guys think it do. Maybe it will. But at the end of the day, it's not going to fit into my box, my format that I trade with. And once you can say that, then suddenly that's, people will respect that. And it makes a big difference. So great comment.
A lot of sense. Absolutely.
Dragon, did you have something to say?
I did have a question. So, well, I've been a bag holder for this company. The name's EEGI. I'm pretty sure some of you guys know what that company's all about. So they stated that they were going to become current about like 4 or 5 months ago, and they didn't. And I started looking at the OTC markets website today, and they updated the right next to the authorized shares. It's
Oh,
showing
yeah.
that the date that it was updated, it was today.
20 billion
And
shares.
20, yeah.
yeah, it's 20,000 authorized, 20 billion authorized shares, and I don't think it was that before. So that gives me a concern. It makes me want to get out like right now because I feel like something may happen.
I think, like just from the things that I had spoken about earlier tonight, the 5 things to go through. And the first thing I look at, right, is your share structure. So this is a really high share structure for someone like me in my strategy. So the first thing I would do with this, if you were confident in it, for instance, and you brought this to me, I would ask you to go to the filings, have a look see, and see what do they owe somebody something, because there's a reason that they're diluting, or not diluting, but they have that many shares. And generally when you have lots of shares like that, it's because you need to dilute. So you have to make money for the company on some other manner that they're not making it in. So I would ask you to definitely go look at their most recent quarterly report and just say what's going on in here. And you'll see their assets and liabilities. And you want to make sure that when you look under the liabilities, there'll be a list, and you'll see where it says convertible notes, notes payable, and that's where they'll put it. Outstanding promissory, convertible note, debt arrangements, that kind of stuff. I can pull it up, for instance, real fast on this, and like the first one I see is back in 2019. They had one for like $267,000. But going deeper into it, you could find out if they still owe that much, or have they done something recent, because it was from 2019, the one I saw briefly. That means that one's probably already gone, right? So they've done this before.
Yeah, I mean, last time I saw that they had like 1 million cash. So I mean, that's pretty much the last piece of information that I knew of.
I
But
recommend.
currently, I don't see what's going on.
Yeah, I would recommend take the time and drill into the assets and liabilities. It'll come on one page. What's really great about this is that it's all on one page, and you can go through it. You'll see the assets, which is fabulous. Assets are great, but that's not what we care about. First thing we care about is liability. What's the cost? And that's where you'll go down and have a look see and look for that convertible note, payable, obligation, anything along those lines. And that'll tell you how much money that they owe to somebody who's not part of the company. More than likely not part of the company. If you want a fast way of doing it, pull up a 10K or a 10Q, and then what I want you to do is just type in Control F. That'll bring up the find function, right? So searching, and then type in convertible. It'll give you a little arrow to point. And every time it finds the word convertible and you push that arrow, it'll take you to that spot. So if you don't want to read 40 pages of work, you just type in convertible. it'll actually tell you that there's 10 or 12 or 15 or 200 of them on this page. And that'll take you through and that'll tell you where to read. That'll save you from reading, 40 pages worth of filing to find one word that turns out you didn't need to know it anyways.
Okay, because I see the last thing they filed was an AK and showing December 2018.
So if you go above that, if you're in the OTC, you're on the OTC website page.
Yes,
You're under disclosures.
I am.
Then right above SEC filings, you see filings and disclosure.
Gotcha.
If you look at the title there, it tells you quarterly report, annual reports, you the dates.
Got it.
That's where you want to search because it's interesting because as long as they disclose it, they don't have to file it. It's going to be in one of those two spots. If you go down to SEC filings and you go, yeah, it's not there. You go up above and you see, oh, wait a minute, there's a whole bunch from November. So then lots of these will have updates and stuff. So you want to make sure you find the one that's most current. Then type in Control F and then put in convertible. It'll help you read through the file a lot faster. It'll tell you how much money they owe, what price they sold it for, how much they have, but it won't, and then they won't tell you what it's at. It'll only be current, like what's it at today as of this filing, but it won't tell you tomorrow and the next day and the next day. You have to start doing some math and watching the play and see what's taking place. But yeah, if you see your AS jump up considerably, and there's a high probability of conversion coming, unless they're looking at like an acquisition.
Okay.
Good place to start. I would start there for sure.
Yeah, and in terms of an acquisition, would that be good even if the outstanding shares increased?
So, everything trails downwards, right? The AS increases to the OS, then the OS increases the float. And the higher the float, then you start to get to those fringes, right? It's either really, really big and it doesn't move because it takes millions and millions of shares, or it's really, really low and you have to day trade it. It's really hard to get out. So when you're in these multi-billion shares like this, remember they always flow to the float. They always pour into the float. So if the float is going to get really, really big, you have to ask yourself, is this the kind of float I want to be in? And
yeah, I might just think that.
That way you can weigh out your risk, right? You can kind of go, well, if they have a 20 billion AS, they have a 10 billion OS, and that means their float is going to start to get really big. So I would look for their convertibles. I'd say, yep, they owe a whole bunch of money. They're probably going to dilute. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to get money on the play. Okay? You have to watch the action of what's taking place because they might not be diluting right away. Sometimes they do a promo and get everybody excited and they'll run the price up and then they'll dilute it all the way down. So the higher the AS and OS, the higher the probability of dilution. That's the best theory to stick with.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And no problem. Shoot me a DM anytime or ask in the room even. And be happy to show. That's why I've got the plays that are in the room there. Those plays are there for you to kind of tear apart. You go in and you ask why would you pick this? What do you like about? What don't you like about it? Why is it happening? What's taking place? And then we try to make some predictive moves in there for you as well, so you can see it.
Hey Pablo, would you recommend like screenshotting or writing down the security details on OTC markets? Like on a Monday and Friday of every week.
Oh yeah. If it's a play you're serious about, you should know that information. That's a great point. Yeah. So if you're gonna check one out, I mean, I'm not a great Excel guy, but I use Excel. And I have my little list of things that I'd like to write down, and I will put that down. Right. I will say AS was this and this and this. Now the other thing I do is I use TradingView. That's my chart go-to program. You don't have to use that. Use whatever you need to. But the chart programs come with some fabulous notes and indicators that you can mark on there. So when I'm trading, I'm not actually literally paper trading. What I'm doing is I go onto my chart. After I've done my homework, I go to my chart and I set little alarms at different key points. And each time you set an alarm on there, you can leave notes. And so I'll leave notes. I had one today, for instance, that went off. I had a play that I noted in here that when I found it, it was at 0.011. I write the date, I write the scan that I used for it, and I write why I like it. That was 2 weeks ago, and today my alarm went off because it actually hit a marker that I had set that I had predicted it would go to, or could go to, I should say, because you're not perfect. And it came up and it went, target alarm reached. Now, did I make any money off that? No. Do I care? No, not at all. Because what I was doing was I was testing. I was studying myself and testing myself. And I was like, okay, so I found it. I set it this time. I followed this to get there. This was the outcome 2 weeks later. It hit my number. So I need to take that away and understand, what did I do? What took place here? And then can I repeat it? And I redo it again. I must have, I can go through like 50 plays in a day till I can't even understand them anymore, because paper trading is like, whether you trade it or not, but just filtering takes a lot of study time. And if you're really into it, you start to really enjoy it, and you get addicted to it. And next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh my God. So it's funny because a lot of people think trading is all about the money making and the action. It's not. 99% of it is the boring part, right? It's the part where you have to be able to, sit down and look for stuff. And that's where having this great community is, because if you don't know what to look for, you think you see something potential wise, you put it to your community and you ask your friends that you're working with, what do you think? Here's what I think. It happens. I had a gentleman bring me a play one time, and it's still a fun story that we talk about in the room. He brought me a play, all the due diligence that he felt he needed, and he was just rock solid excited about it. And he gave it to me, and I turned around and I asked him, I said, so what do you think about the reverse split that's taking place next week? And literally there was no typing on the other side for a few minutes. And then all of a sudden it came back and it was like, shit. And that's what's great about being able to share with someone, is that, you can lie to yourself without knowing you're lying to yourself, because you may not do everything you think you need to do. And it's good to always bounce that off of someone and find out. And so in this case, right, he would have gone in, full kilt, and that was going to split like next week. That's why the price was so good, because everybody had already bailed. So yeah, definitely, bring your questions and bring everything.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? We'll probably.
Yeah,
Oh, go
I
ahead.
just had a quick question, Cheryl. Well, thank you,
Sure.
Pablo, for coming in and talking.
Thanks for having me.
I was just curious, why is it the burger bar?
Oh, why is it why is it the burger joint? Yeah. So the burger joint is, when I first start working with anybody who wants to understand some of these charts and what to look for, there's always points of resistance and points of support. You hear that all the time, but a lot of people don't understand, what does that mean. So I break it down to the burger format. It's not something I invented. It's actually from the Twitter world. And the idea is that
Let's see if we can put the burger joint chart on our screen. Hold on one second. Let me send it to him.
Oh yeah, do you have it?
Yeah, I could do that.
Here, let me send it to you. I just sent it to you.
I could do all things.
Great. People that are technically awesome. Right? So this is the burger joint idea. And what I do is I say, okay, so like the bun is where you want to be buying in it, right? Then you've got the cheese, then you got a single patty, double patty, top bun. And you don't want to buy above the bun. You're the base bun. That's where you are. And then you want it to be loaded up by everybody else. So as it gets some cheese, you're going to make more money. If you want a single patty, you can exit at the single patty and there's your money you'll make. If you want to look at taking more risk and get a double patty because you're really eager and high risk taker, you can do that and you can exit there. The top bun is kind of like, this is the high risk players. You've got a full bun, it's done. Is there potential for it to go more? Sure. That's high risk. That's when the fries and nuggets come in. If you want to start eating a little bit more, that's where you're going with it. So the idea is, where do you fit in with this? Right? You want to make sure you understand my load zone. You understand that the cheese is where you want to maybe just sit, and then you want to wait. Are you going to exit in the single patty, or are you going to exit with a double patty burger? Wait, which is going to work for you? And sometimes, you might exit 80% of your play at the single patty and leave 20% of it on there for the fries and nuggets because you want to see what's taking place. You can do that. And this is just a real simple way of breaking it down. And then how did these lines get drawn? That's where I'll actually show people how to do that. And then each person does this. You do this for your own place, so you can break them apart and get a good understanding of what are they doing, what's taking place. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 because that's separate. I was actually getting ready to draw an Elliott wave there, looking for that fifth wave back in the day. And I think Bilo, you were using this on one that you sent me as an example for fun the other day. I still use it. I don't deliver them this way as much anymore, but I will. If people are new, then I do. And then as you advance forward, I speak to the conversation of the audience in front of me, right?
This is some good stuff. This makes me have faith in the OTC world.
Yeah, the OTC world, it's a crazy world. You got to watch out for the noise, right? Watch out for what people say. Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting that I read something today. It kind of fits the OTC world quite a bit. Is stop trying to look for the good in people and look for what they show you.
Right.
And that's the OTC. Because if you buy into the story too much, drink the Kool-Aid, you're going to miss all the warning signs, like Tiger was saying. And there's lots of warning signs. So, understanding your strategy, understanding what you need, what you want, is going to help create the type of trader you need to be for you. Because you don't need to be like me. You don't need to be like the next guy. You need to be you.
This is some good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we really appreciate your time in here tonight. It's a wealth of knowledge, mm-hmm. and a lot of us needed this tonight because a lot of us are holding a lot of OTC bags. And now when we do, there are great companies in the OTC that are very quiet. No one really talks about them, and they're doing really well, and it's not about, following the pumps and dumps out there. It's about literally understanding what you're investing in and finding the right OTC. It takes a lot of work because you have to put in a lot of time, like research and looking at the filings and knowing how to read them and all that good stuff. So this training, I think, is very well needed, and a lot of you guys in here are OTC in a lot of OTC plays. Okay, so
yeah, if you are, I would be happy if anybody want to reach out to me and do a review. I'd be happy to review your play with you.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Do you guys have any other questions? I'm sorry this went a little over an hour, but I think we all just stick around because it's good information, right? So
yeah, it's great.
I love it. I could do this for more time if we needed to.
It's
I know what we're gonna do, guys, is like we might do trainings in the weekends, like during the afternoon or something. And we'll try to see what, please put your ideas and stuff in the training channel.
Yeah, because I would love to host something on like Sundays or whenever people are available for however long you want, where we go over specifically technicals, because there's so many to go over, and You know, you
Mhm.
just pick one, and then we talk about it. We go over it. We find charts. We chart them out. We
Let's
play
do
plays
it.
mentally. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
I like that.
Yeah, because I
That sounds
mean,
great. And I'll throw it out there. My guys that I work with, they're incredible, right? These are people that were where you are today. That's where they were a year ago, and I would be more than happy to reach out to them as individuals like JC and Bilo and do an invite where we can bring one of them over. You know, like maybe Bilo and JC will join me, and we can do a session with you guys. Right?
Okay.
Let's you pick the play, and we'll show you what we do.
that's
Okay.
awesome. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
We talked for about 20 minutes on MACD, and we realized that Pablo had extended hours on, so he was extended, and his MACD was showing different
Wow.
trends than ours.
That was really cool because I had no
Yeah.
idea that I had that on there.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah, it's we see like we're still learning. That was just 2 days ago, right?
yeah.
We're all trying to figure out why I was able to see something that was a little bit more of a positive than everyone else, and it turned out I had after-hour trading turned on, so mine always gave us the final ask set up, and it was cool. It was cool because it got us all aligned again. Right now, we were seeing the same thing. We were sharing our charting at the same view, and yeah, it was super cool.
This is awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We're
No
gonna go.
problem.
We're gonna go ahead and skip the last video, but we'll put it in the room so you guys can watch it. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You guys are family. And let's kill it for the rest of the week. And, you know, if you guys have questions or just anything you want to say, please put it in the main chat and let us know how tonight's training was. And thank you, Pablo, for your time. And Stocks Only, do you have anything else to say?
No, I love you all. Thank you. I'll see you in the morning to make money.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah,
See you all bright and early.
I will
Everyone,
be traveling tomorrow, just so you know. So anybody who reaches out to me, I will be answering only on my phone a little bit. I'm heading to Vegas tomorrow, so
well,
I'll be
Pablo
trading out of
is
Vegas tomorrow.
traveling. This is what he
Have
does.
fun.
He trades travel.
That's what I do. Yeah, I trade
That's
and
what I
travel.
want.
So yeah.
Goals.
Yeah.
Goals for real. Like honestly, I'm single. I ain't got no kids. That's exactly what I want to do.
I'm
And
not
make
single and I got
follow him
kids, and
on
I'm trying to
Twitter.
trade and travel anyway.
You
It
you
don't
guys
matter.
will.
That's what's
Make
up
sure you guys
too.
follow him on Twitter, and he's also in our Rising Stars channel.
I'll bring the
So
kids with. Let's go.
Safe
Thank-
travels, Pablo.
Light it up. Thanks so much for having me, everyone. Take care.
bye.
Thanks, Pablo.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, guys. I love y'all.
Good night. Good night.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much, Pablo.